Well, good blustery morning to you. It is negative 5 degrees outside with a wind chill of 20 below. Sitting here enjoying my coffee. Not going to be doing anything outside today. This is frostbite weather within 5 minutes. Last night it got down to 10 degrees below zero with a wind chill of 40 below. We had 40-mile-an-hour winds. We had trees, branches down everywhere. Power went out for a little bit. And it was just a cold night with the winds going through this old 1911 home. So, welcome to the studio. As you can see, I've been doing a little bit of work in here. Got a desk set up for my editing. The desk that's in front of me has a nice countertop to it. It's wood grain, so I can do all my unboxings. I can do all my reviews on products. I am not sponsored, so anything that I do actually show you has been bought with my own money. Back here, power up the iPad. I've got the iPad where I can show you various things that I'm talking about through the internet. Got some plants to decorate it, and I got some lights. So living in an apartment home, storage has always been an issue. I'm currently working out the logistics of that. So you will see this changing from time to time. One of the things I'm doing with this channel is hopefully I can bring you some podcasts from time to time talking about various products that I use, various gear that I use, and just various ramblings about my outdoor activities. So this is kind of an introduction to the new podcasting. And you like my shirt? My mom got it for me for my birthday. Kind of matches my outdoor activity. Still getting used to the monitor showing things in reverse, but yeah, kind of matches my outdoor activity. And you'll see when I post another clip that this whole studio area is all outdoor themed. Very comfortable because it's in my apartment, and just a space that I can come in and chill. So let's get right into the podcast. The first thing that I want to talk about, I am not going to share any political views on this channel. That's not the point of this channel, but I do want to talk about a little bit about preparedness, especially since it was a wind chill of 40 degrees last night and we lost power for a little bit. Some people laugh and call me a prepper. I am by no means a prepper, but I am prepared. I do have outdoor gear for my activity that I can use in case of an emergency, which is warm clothing. I have lots of candles on hand. My wife loves scented candles anyway, so we have that on hand. I do have in the background here, you can see my Mr. Buddy heater, which I can use to heat in an emergency. I also have a various camp cooking stuff for when the power goes out. I can, like last night, I enjoyed a hot chocolate. I enjoyed my coffee when we had the hurricane force winds on Christmas Eve, which knocked out power. And here also is my MSR pocket rocket. You'll see me use from time to time to heat up things. Warm clothing. I also got the newest addition to my gear. This right here, I did a little short segment on it. This is the EcoFlow River 2. And let's see if I can get this in view because it's a little big for this camera setup. So, right here on the front of the unit, I'm trying to get this in frame here. You've got your USB ports. You've got your 12 volt charging on this side of it. You've got your household charging and your household power, which is standard 120 volt. This one right here is a smaller unit. This will not power a refrigerator. This will not power a electric heater. I've had powered a hair dryer on low. On high it trips the circuit inside, but on low I powered that so that I could unfreeze the locks on my car one day. This has become very handy. The other thing I added to my list of gears this year is we have not been getting any ice at all for ice fishing. So a lot of our stuff at the store is on clearance. And we had these USB lights right here. These are actually put out by Norsk. I think the box is somewhere else, but this is a 6-foot strip. And it just plugs into the EcoFlow by USB, or you can charge it off of any USB battery bank. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. This will provide 800 lumens of power. So with the 800 lumens of power, I was able to light up my whole entire kitchen, pantry area, and also part of my bedroom with this. So this is a really good unit to have. Okay, sorry for the short break there. For whatever reason, my main camera I'm using is a GoPro Hero 7 that I retired. Yeah, alright, yeah, there we go. Alright, so it's a GoPro Hero 7 that I had retired, that the USB door head broke off of it. So it's not waterproof anymore. The thing likes to sometimes power off on its own. I've been recording with it and it stopped recording on its own. It powers off on its own. Sometimes when I power it off, it'll restart, and now you can see that it just switched from linear view to wide view on its own. So I'm not sure how long I'm going to use that GoPro as my main camera. So yeah, now you get a wider shot of the studio. Got some storage back there for clothing and cooking gear. Got a bookshelf for various stuff, and then the mess on the floor I'm cleaning up over there. It's tax season, plus I'm putting some gear away for the winter. So yeah, sorry for what this GoPro just did. So anyway, as we were talking about with preparedness, like I said, I'm not going to get into any political issues, but you have to be prepared. I lived through an ice storm in North Carolina. I had 8 days without power. I had a kerosene heater. I had candles. I had flashlights. I had a charcoal grill. So pretty much I was providing heat and warm meals for the entire neighborhood of people who were just not prepared. One of the things you can do, especially in the wintertime, to keep your home warm, if you should lose power, is if you have an east or a south facing window or a sliding door, go ahead and open up those curtains. You'd be surprised how much solar actually comes through there and will warm your house. In North Carolina, I had a sliding glass door, and my house went from 30 degrees overnight up to 65 just with the windows open. I was able to shut off the kerosene heater and be comfortable. Personally, I'm not a fan of kerosene heaters. They're great in emergency, but they are a dry, smelly heat, and with asthma, I've got to be careful with it. Keep the door cracked a little bit. The other thing is, I'm not going to get into... Okay, so sorry for the break again. My mom was just calling me to make sure everything was okay after the storm last night, and she's got to have a roofer guy come over and put a big plate back up on the roof that blew off again. So, That's what that little ringing of the phone was. So where was I? Oh yeah, preparedness. So, like I said, I am not going to get into the government. I am not going to get into anything political. But if you've been following the news lately, you know that the U.S. government is trying to push this whole thing about going electric only, banning oil furnaces, banning wood stoves, banning um, gas, natural gas, propane, banning your propane stoves in the house. They just want everything electric. And truthfully, if you've been through a power failure, whether it's 5 minutes or like when I was in North Carolina, 8 days, I mean, what are you going to do? We've been cooking on our propane stoves for decades. We have had wood stoves. The cave people used wood to burn. 1700s living, they used wood to burn all the way up through when I was a kid in the 1970s, and people still have wood stoves today. They are great if the power goes out. Yes, you got to be safe with them. Yes, you got to make sure that your chimneys are clean. Don't burn pine or anything heavy sap so that it creates that creosote up in the chimney that can cause chimney fires. Do your routine maintenance. Be careful with it. But if the power goes out and you have wood stove, you got your heat, you got cooking. What more can I say? Propane stoves, natural gas stoves. The power goes out, you can still cook. They're worried about all this, toxins getting in your lungs and causing asthma problems. Basically, I see two things with that. One, we've been using it for decades, and I'm not sure the evidence is really there. Two, the problem is these new houses they are building are airtight. They don't want any natural air getting in to be efficient. They don't want you opening your windows. They want you running your AC, but then you got problems of mold and recirculating air, especially if you're not cleaning it. With houses being airtight, you don't have any air coming in or going out naturally, so viruses, colds stay in. And then, if there is any pollutants in the air, that's going to stay in. So, I don't know. It's just a thought for today. I really don't like where this is going. Leave me alone. These government officials got to remember that we elect them. They work for us. And, we do have some constitutional rights. And constitutional rights is freedom of the speech. I don't believe that you can actually get up in my face and be rude and obnoxious to me and say derogatory things, but our Constitution allows us to speak freely and speak out about certain things. Right to bear arms. Second Amendment. That's a whole nother issue, which I'm not going to get into right now. There's a bunch of stuff going in there with a bunch of bureaucrats and agencies that are not really allowed to make law and making law, and Congress is doing nothing about it, but I'm not going to discuss that. Fourth Amendment, the right to feel safe and secure in our persons and homes. Kind of ties into the Second Amendment, but also right to feel safe and secure, which leads into being able to feel comfortable if the power goes out. Cooking, keeping warm, having the resources available to us. So, it's just a thought for today. I know a lot of you have your own opinions on it and everything, but it's just a thought. All right, so moving on. What have I been doing? So, if you may have followed my channel at all, you have noticed that I have not posted a real outdoor video since the end of December. So Christmas Eve we had the hurricane force winds. We had that bomb cyclone that brought us hurricane force winds, torrential downpours, down trees, just not able to get out. It's dangerous. The entire month of January was cold, drizzly, above freezing rain. So we have no ice for ice fishing. We haven't had any snow to pretty up the landscape at all. Landscape's just been brown. I do have the gear to get out in that type of weather, but with the landscape being brown, not really make for good filming any scenery. Nothing's in bloom. It's what people call stick season right now, where the trees are all bare and such. And who wants to get out in that cold, drizzly weather when there's really nothing good to look at? So yeah, we've had no snow, maybe 1 or 2 inches, but it melts in a couple hours. Too warm for ice fishing. We've had no ice. Had a coworker go out to the Berkshires to do some ice fishing with. There was some ice. He fell through twice. I work in a store that sells farming equipment, home goods, and sporting goods. So yeah, none of our ice fishing stuff is selling. A lot of it's on clearance right now. Customers come in, said they've been up to New Hampshire, New York, Maine. They're pretty much getting the same weather, although they have found some ice. But yeah, their weather's been pretty much the same. And I had a couple say that they're going up to Canada for ice fishing, where they've been getting better weather for it. So yeah, I don't know what the rest of this winter is going to bring. Right now it's beautiful and sunny, but it's still 5 below 0 with a wind chill of 20. So yeah, that's why I have not been out doing any hiking or anything. I've been pretty much setting up this studio so I can bring you some podcasting. Been working a little bit on the HHR that I acquired. It's a Chevy HHR 4-cylinder SUV. I'll be showcasing that probably a little bit later. You've seen it in some of the other videos that I've done. Great thing about that HHR is the rear seats fold down, so I can go ahead and sleep in it if need be, if the weather is such that I'm not sleeping in my tent, because I hate packing up wet tent and wet tarps. So I can sleep in it. The hatch has been great. I've already put a deer in it. You've seen a video where I got a 6-pointer this year when I was out hunting. I'm setting it up so I can do various filming from different angles in it. And I've added some organizational pouches to the seats so that I can organize some of my gear. I'm not going to do a total build out on it. It's a 2008. It's got 90,000 miles on it right now. It's also my daily driver back and forth to work. So and stuff that I do for my house. So I need it to be able to hold stuff in daily living. So I'm not going to do a total build out on it, but I am going to set it up for my outdoor activity and such. It's a 4-cylinder, so the great thing about it is it gets between 22 and 30 miles to the gallon, depending on driving conditions. So I really like it. The bad thing about it is it's not 4-wheel drive. So when I do any of my soft roading, I am not a hardcore overlanding. I would like to be, but I'm not a hardcore overlanding, off-roading type of person. I will go down dirt roads if they are such that I can get the vehicle in there. I have found that I've spun the tires in places that the sedan would do just fine. So I'm not sure exactly why it did that, but I did not get stuck. The other thing is it's also low to the ground like a sedan. I am not going to put a lift kit on it because of the fact that it would change the gas mileage and change how it drives. It handles great in the snow. It does not slide like the sedan does. So I really like the vehicle. I'm really glad I have it. It's already added to my outdoor activity with having the hatch that opens up. Able to put gear in and out. I'm not worried about wet gear. I did put some seat covers on it that were water resistant to protect the seats a little more. I've added a multi-port 12-volt unit up in the front that plugs into the cigarette lighter. It has three additional ports and USB, so I can charge my phone on it and run various things. I found that it does have a 12 volt in the console for the back seat, so I'm able to run a cooler back there and charge my EcoFlow while I'm driving. So yeah, so far it's been a great vehicle. It's an older vehicle, so doing a little bit of maintenance to it. It's a New England car, but it does have a little bit of rust, but no rot on it. So with it being an older vehicle, there is some maintenance and a couple things I got to get fixed on it. But so far, I mean, I absolutely love what the HHR and having an SUV has done to my outdoor activity. It just enhanced it greatly. What else has been going on? Fishing season is going to be starting shortly. The store I work at, we're really getting geared up on our fishing gear. We've totally expanded our sporting goods fishing area, adding a bunch more gear. I'll let you know where I work. I do work at Runnings in Putnam, Connecticut, in the sporting goods department. Runnings started out as a Midwest store with the buying out of a couple of other stores back in 1955-ish. I would have to go back and review the history. It's sad. I don't remember this stuff. But then they bought a few other stores. So they're primarily Minnesota, Missouri, North Dakota, South Dakota. Then they started expanding east. They got 10 stores in upstate New York, 3 in New Hampshire, and we got our Putnam, Connecticut store, which is right over the Mass and Rhode Island borders. So, yeah, it's been great for me. I get to try out various gear before I buy it to see if it's something I want to add to my activities. I get to talk to people about sporting goods. Got my kayak from there, so it's been really great working there so far the past year. We just, I mean, anything I need for the house, anything I need for my outdoor gear, able to get there. There are some things we don't stock, but hopefully we'll start carrying those in the future. So one of the other things I want to start doing this year is I also want to get back into dabbling with my watercolor painting. I haven't done that in a long time, and drawing. I kind of put that aside for a little bit because, as you can see by this table behind me right here, this is my work and craft table. I was making a bunch of Christmas gifts this year, wax melts. I made some various lotions. I've got some stuff drying right now for spices and teas. I'm going to be making a healing salve. So I want to get back into my watercolor painting. The other thing I put aside for a little bit is my actual photography of wildlife and landscapes. Kind of been dabbling, thinking about buying a new camera for that. I do need to get a new action camera because, like I said, I've retired the GoPro to the studio camera, and as you saw, it did a little weirdness where it went too wide angle on me. So I need that, but I have an old Nikon camera. It's a D3100 entry-level DSLR with a bunch of lenses. So I'm thinking about switching over to Sony because I like the autofocus. I have a ZV-1 right now. I love the autofocus. I love the 4K capability on it. I love just the way I can leave that thing in auto mode, and it switches between landscape, portrait, macro, all on its own. It's a great little pocket camera, pretty much does everything I need. But the DSLR and mirrorless cameras are going to give you better quality. So I've been kind of thinking about what to do with that. I don't. Okay, and we just switched back to linear mode. This GoPro's acting crazy. So I have thought, about what I want to do with getting another camera. I thought about switching to Sony. I would like to get a A7S III, but they are expensive. The FX3 is a cinema line camera based off the A7S III, which has various build outs on it. But then they came out with the FX30. It's a crop sensor, Super 35 camera. Nikon calls those DX cameras APS-C. So I was thinking about getting one of those. It's less expensive. It has the handle on top for the XLR mics. But the only problem with that is I have price switching over gear. A new camera system and getting all new lens for it is going to run about $6,000 to $10,000, which is a budget I just do not have. Like any other camera gear and the gear I got to do the studio, it's been slow and over time. Nikon, they've got mirrorless cameras. Nikon's always been great for photography. Their video has always been lacking. And the fact that I do have all these AFS lenses, they're not mirrorless lenses, got me thinking, do I want to stay with Nikon just for the photography aspect of it? Do I want to go for a Sony because I'm a hybrid shooter? Or possibly look into something else. So I've been kind of on the fence about that, but I want to get back into doing photography and sharing more of my photography. So speaking of the ZV-1, a lot of you know that I've had the ZV-1 now for 2 years. I've been using it on a gimbal. Is between the ZV-1 and the GoPro. Those are the main cameras that I use for my channel. And I like the fact that I put it on a gimbal. It does a lot better than the built-in steady shot. Although steady shot on the ZV-1 is pretty good if you go slow and you're not doing a lot of like jerky motions with it. But I don't know. The gimbal has its place, but I kind of outgrew the gimbal. I find that I am limiting myself as far as my filming goes. And I'll show you why. I did a build out on the ZV-1. Let me see if I can get it up here. So this contraption right here weighs probably as much as on the gimbal. So I'm just going to hold it here since my GoPro is doing weird things. I can't really put it down on the table. So I always had the cage on it, which allowed me to do various things. This right here is the tripod remote. I put it on here as a handle so that I can control it from the side instead of always reaching up. But on the gimbal, I found I was kind of limited. And here's the reason why. This microphone right here with the giant windsock on it is something that would allow me to record ambient noises like birds, ocean, or whatever. And I cannot use that with the gimbal because it would throw it off balance. A lot of times in my exploration, I do go into cave crevices, abandoned World War II forts, some abandoned buildings, some cellar holes. So it gets dark in there, and I could never have a light on my gimbal setup because it would throw off the balance and no place to mount it. This right here is an Atomos Shinobi. It's not the Ninja 5. This does not record. It's just a monitor, which I can position. I did put it on a ball gooseneck so I can position it around. It provides a bigger screen and better viewing in sunlight versus the flip out screen on the ZV-1, which is great to begin with. Added a wooden handle on this side. Now, I don't know if you can see this too well, but up here I added a cell phone mount, which can actually hold a battery pack. So I'm able to power the ZV-1 off a dummy battery going into a battery pack, which will give me longer recording time. Although I do have 5 batteries for this, but after about an hour or 45 minutes, you have to switch out the batteries. So I can have the battery pack with a longer viewing time. Down here, up here also, this module is the receiver for the Rode Wireless Go. This is the first generation. This is not the one that has 2 mics. This is the one that only comes with the 1 mic. The good thing about this is I can go wireless up to 300 feet away if needed. I'm able to move around, but if I want to record the ambient sound, all I have to do is just unplug the cable and it automatically switches over to this mic, which is a Sony mic powered off of the camera through the hot shoe interface. So that's pretty cool. So moving down to this section, I put a spacer in here so that I can open the battery door without hitting this plate right here, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Still, if I need to switch anything out, I still gotta reposition this plate. Talk about this plate in a little bit. Over here, this is a Benro tabletop tripod that I picked up. I was looking for something a little bit smaller that I can use instead of a full size tripod that I can put on top of a table inside the SUV and such. This is all Arca Swiss so that I can switch easily between the various tripods I have, not worried about plates. So what I did was on this plate right here, this bottom piece is an Arca Swiss plate, but it has little feet on it so that I'm able to set it down on the ground, bring my camera almost down to ground level. And what I did was, because it has various mounting points on it itself, I took the cushion handle off my gimbal and screwed it in the back. The ball head that's on this is not a video head, but it does have nice fluid motion. So with this cushion handle screwed in the back, I'm able to pan. So the other thing I want to talk about is this newer Z piece. Let me set this down right here, see if I can get the proper angle for you. Alright, so it's not going to really give me the proper angle with the height of this unit here. So let me set this right here. So some of you have seen this before. This newer piece right here is what's called a Z mount. Various different other companies make this. This allows me to get different angles, and I can actually lock it into place even with all this equipment on it. So basically what you do is you unlock this, and then now I'm able to bring my camera up. I can tilt it all the way down. I can tilt it back. I can add extra height right from this piece. So that's going to add greatly to my recording. Everything locks good in place. And like I said, the weight on this is just a little bit heavier than the gimbal itself. It doesn't really add that much weight. I do have a backpack. I've tested this with my regular hiking backpack, and I also have this Think Tank kind of a urban backpack that I picked up at the Salvation Army for $2. Everything fits in there, all assembled. The only thing I have to do is take it off the tripod itself and remove this back handle. It even fits in there with this top carrying handle. So, like I said, I was kind of limiting myself with the gimbal because you can only do basic so much movement. But the one thing that's cool is I can flip this down and I now have two-handed steadiness for filming. And also with the top handle and the side handle, I also have two-handed steadiness for filming. So hopefully this is going to totally increase the amount of filming and the type of filming I do on my channel. So we'll put that right back down there. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this short little podcast right now. I do need another coffee and get something to eat. But yeah, that's pretty much introduction to the what I've been doing as far as the beginning part of 2023. Like I said, I'm going to be bringing some short podcasts to this channel, talking about various products, talking about various things I've been up to, sharing some random thoughts with you on outdoor gear and such, just to kind of add to this channel when the weather is just not able for me to get out like today. So I will catch you in the next video. I just wanted to bring something short to you. I will catch you in the next podcast. I promise the next podcast will be not so much rambling. I'll have true topics to talk about, true gear to talk about that I've been using, what I think of various gears that I've been using and such. It won't be so much rambling, but I just want to bring this update to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Be sure to get outside, stay safe. Be sure you have the gear from outside. Be sure to let people know where you are going. Yes, it's great to be solitude, but if something happens, been looking at maybe getting a Garmin InReach, kind of like one of those little SOS things, but the subscription on those is about $25 a month, so I've been holding off, but I'm looking at possibly adding that too, because I really want to expand where I've been going. I do want to do a couple overnight backpack trips if I can find somebody to go with me on those, because some of the places I want to go, I really don't want to go alone, because it'd be getting up into bear country. Well, let's talk about that for a quick second about bears. We've been seeing bears in the woods. I grew up. We've been seeing bears around here. I guess they kind of always been there, but they're kind of getting squashed out of their natural habitat with all the building that's been going on and all the clear cutting for solar fields, which is another subject I just don't want to discuss politically. To me, I think solar panels belong on the roof of your own homes and businesses to power your own homes and businesses, not be clear cutting to try to power an entire town with solar, and especially since a lot of this electricity is being sold out west and not even benefiting our town. You know, if you're going to go with solar, put the panels on your own roof, put them on your own buildings, power your own buildings, become self-sufficient. So, yeah, anyway, because of all that building and clear cutting, we've been seeing more beers in our area. Bobcats starting to make a comeback. Fisher cats, they don't care. They're ruthless. They will chase you. They will come after you. So having a Garmin InReach, also in case I fall, break an ankle, get stuck somewhere or whatever, would be nice. But like I said, the subscription of them is like right around $25 a month, and also it's like $300 for the unit. So yeah. But anyway, enough rambling for now. This was an introduction, and we will see you in the next podcast, which I promise will be a little bit more organized.